Neighborhood is recovering after a murder-suicide Tuesday afternoon. Eyewitness News reporter Aaron Wright joins us in studio with what we know so far about the victims. Aaron?
SAPD tells us today 3 people are dead, including the shooter. 1 woman is critically injured.
Police responded to a shots fired call at a home on Cone Hill Drive just after 4 yesterday evening. Officers say they heard someone inside the house calling for help and forced their way inside. That's where they found 3 people dead and 1 person injured. The victim was taken to University Hospital in critical condition. Police have not released the names of the victims, but have told us the suspected shooter is a 19-year-old man. The 2 other victims who were killed are 17 and 19-year-old women. The surviving victim is a 53-year-old woman. SAPD says there was a recent family argument that caused the shooter to be disgruntled in recent days. They believe the suspect showed up at the home unannounced and shot the 3 women, then turned the gun on himself.
Again, SAPD's homicide unit is investigating this shooting. We called the ME's office this afternoon. Names are still pending as families are still being contacted. We'll update this story as we learn more.